Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Up and Onward Library Hub's Library Lunch. This is a place to share positive and useful local information, maybe find out about our community in a bit more depth, and just try and keep us all connected during this time. It's really awesome to be back hosting again after being away for a few weeks. And I'm very delighted to introduce our guest today, who is Sali-Wyn Ryan, a violinist with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra and the founder of Classical Pop-Ups. Sally, it's great to have you. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a bit about you and about Classical Pop-Ups.
Hi, it's so great to be here. I stumbled across this library lunch a few weeks ago while I was scrolling through Twitter or Facebook or something else, and I just thought it sounded such a great idea, such a really good way to get the community involved. So hi, everyone that's watching. And so I founded Classical Pop-Ups back in 2016. Primarily as a little sort of sideline to being a member of the RPO and doing other things with my life. It was just something I wanted to do. I was really feeling like I wanted to bring together musicians from lots of different areas of my life, different orchestras that I'd worked with, friends from different places. Yeah, so I guess the main attraction originally was to set something up that would be a bit different because it wouldn't be just from one pool of people, and also just unusual lineups of instruments and unusual combinations and getting new works arranged, that sort of thing. I really wanted to do it, but it's only recently that it's really taken over my life a bit more because I've, weirdly enough, had quite a lot of time on my hands.
Oh, positive silver linings, I guess.
Exactly. There's got to be a few, right? There's got to be a few at this time.
So
yeah, definitely sure. A silver lining. There's a lot of, there's a lot of good initiatives going on. I've really noticed that with a lot of my colleagues and friends out there are just doing some fantastic things during lockdown and now, being really creative and just really giving a good shout out for the arts, which is very much needed at the moment.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about that in a little bit for sure. But tell us a bit more about where Classical Pop-Ups has gone, because there's some quite unusual elements to it, I think. Well,
yeah, like I said, I think something we specialise in really well is having unusual lineups of instruments. At the moment, we've got a little group on the go, which is a string trio with added trumpet, trombone, and bongos. So it's not a lineup you'd see every day. And we're working together for various bits and bobs. Nearly all of the arrangements are original, so sort of they're either new works or they're songs that have been rearranged for this particular lineup. Obviously we do mainstream things as well. It totally depends on the event. I like to tailor each program to the lineup. I mean, I was chatting to a friend the other day and I found myself saying, yeah, it just depends who I fancy hanging out with, and I'll put something together. And sometimes I'll just think, oh, I really want to give that person a gig, so let's get something arranged for, a particular lineup. We've done all sorts of things over the years. I think probably the quirkiest was when I managed to get two musicians into the back of a car, which was part of an advertising campaign for Classic FM and Mazda cars. Yeah, that was awesome. A challenge. I wasn't in there myself. I didn't. Yeah, I think we had bassoon and trumpet in the back of the car playing along whilst people were driving.
Wow,
so
that's fab.
So we'll play anywhere.
And what about, tell us a bit about other venues, because this is a thing, isn't it, as well, that you like to play in unusual venues. So obviously the back of the car is quite an extreme one, but where else have you done? Give us some examples.
Well, it's something I've been thinking a lot about recently, and I'm sort of grappling at the moment with adding more places to the list, which obviously at this current time is a bit tricky. It's a weird mix of having so much time to do these things, but with so many restrictions in place, it's very difficult. So it's a strange juxtaposition of time to be creative and yet quite a lot of barriers, which is hard. But in the past, we've done some done some great things. We played at Battersea Dogs Home. That was a good one. Lots of garden type events. We've played at the top of a few buildings. We've played, we played at a bar in Deptford in basically a converted shed. Wow. Lots of places. We used to play at a really lovely private members club in town, and they had a little sort of basement bar. We used to play down there quite a lot, where there was no space at all, and we always had to go and borrow chairs from the restaurant upstairs. And I think they hated us, to be honest, but we did it. And I like to. It sort of works in two ways, I suppose. We've done quite a lot of Christmassy events as well over the years, where I'll often employ a ready-made group of musicians to perform. That's the other way it sort of operates. So I'll either put the group together myself, or I'll take the opportunity to give, a ready-made ensemble something to go and do. That works really well also.
It must be very, very time-consuming to put everything together as a unique thing. So I guess it balances out a bit if you have some kind of obviously Christmas is a really obvious time to do that, isn't it? You just like a brass quartet or something playing Christmas carols, there must be huge demand for that as well. So does that balance out your time a little bit as well?
Yeah, exactly. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's sort of, I mean, I guess also I've gone through real phases in the last 3 or 4 years of putting my time and effort into classical pop-ups. I mean, several months go by sometimes where I don't put on events. It's always been that I'd rather wait and do something a bit unusual and really fun than just fill the diary with, because I don't need to do that in my normal life. I'm usually really busy with the RPO, and we're on tour all over the world most of the time. But obviously things are different now. So this has kind of taken a bit of priority in the last month or so. I guess it balances things out.
And really nice at the moment to be able to offer your friends and colleagues some work, I guess. It's been quite a challenging time.
Exactly. I mean, it's just awful at the moment, really, for so many people. And I mean, sadly, I'm just one person doing this, and I know so many people are out there really shouting for the arts and really trying to make it heard that we need support, and we need people to be able to get out there and perform. And I think just really focusing that at the moment, it's very interesting, because it's never something that we've had to think about. Well, we certainly haven't had to focus on this desperation before. So I think that's what spurred me on to start my latest campaign, which is called Perform. And I just desperately want to be able to offer even just a small fee to people. And I'm trying to do a very direct crowdfunder, which goes directly to the musicians. There's a lot of wonderful resources and sources out there that are helping musicians. But I chose on this occasion to do it a bit more directly, so that it would just go into a little pocket of money that will enable me to carry on doing what I do. And even if it's lower than someone would normally get for an event fee, it's something. It's to say, look, here's your little something to say that you're getting a fee, and then on top of that, we'll often ask for donations or whatever, So that's where it feels nice to be able to do that. I'm a long way off finding huge sums of money to do that, but fingers crossed. So if there's any millionaires out there, you know where we are.
Let's continue actually. This chat about kind of fees and payment for time and stuff is a really important one, so let's just continue that in a sec. But before we do, just want to say hello to the people who are watching, and I can see that we have Les, Gaz, Eileen and Gaynell, so lovely to have you. And Sally, I mentioned my choir Palace a cappella to you earlier, and Eileen and Gaynell are 2 members of the choir. So as we were saying before, if you ever want to collaborate with a choir, we'd be very up for that. It'd be quite awesome.
We're doing
So-
business right now. We're doing business, on-screen business. It's great.
Absolutely, networking. We've got Martin now as well joined us. So hi, Martin. Thank you for joining us. If any of you have any questions or comments that you want to pass on to Sally, please do stick them in the comments feed, whichever social media platform you're on. We'll try and answer them as we go. So Sally, going back to the importance of musicians being paid for their time. You obviously are in a position to kind of, as you said, with Perform, to ask for it's basically crowdfund money that is going to go directly to paying musicians to do events, which is awesome. What have been the kind of difficulties maybe around this time from that point of view?
It's been a really interesting time for this, I think. As we were chatting earlier, Eleanor, that concept of musicians or anyone that's talented, anyone in the creative arts, of course we want to perform, we want to do what we love doing, but it is our profession, it is our job, it is our income. I mean, it's literally a difference between, you know, being able to afford rent or a mortgage or whatever. It really is that basic. And I still think, sadly, that is not recognised by everyone in the public. It's so, and as you said, this is not a new problem, but I think it's being highlighted. It's definitely been highlighted, this problem, this concept, during lockdown, because as we know, there has been a lot of online content, brilliant online content, some free, some for donations, you know, covering a huge spectrum of items. And I think there's worryingly a slight expectation that will continue forever, and perhaps that musicians should at this time be up for doing things for free. And you know what, sometimes we are, if it's for charity, if it's for a really worthwhile cause. My gosh, I think, you know, the arts has raised millions for charities over the years, but I just feel a little bit like now it's time to support us. It's time to just think about the arts as being a really needed institution, and everyone relies on the arts. Everyone goes to watch the plays, cinemas, musicals, concerts. Every single person has done one of those things at some point. And you know, just a few quid from everyone in this world would make such a difference, wouldn't it? And I think yeah, that going back to the fees thing, it's just that value, that self-worth. No one does things for nothing. You don't look at any other profession. You don't expect a plumber to come over for free, or someone to come and fix something in your home for free, just because we're going through a bit of a, you know, crisis at the moment. So I passionately feel that music should be treated in the same way. So that's, in my own little way, trying to do that.
Awesome. I love that. Do you think it's partly relating to I feel like there is still a belief that musical talent is an innate thing, and maybe that there isn't enough understanding or value placed on the work that we have to do to get there, and actually the money that is spent in training to do it. So it's not just that you're paying fees for the time of the event, but also for the level of training and experience and money that's been paid in order to get to the level to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely, I can't word that any better, Eleanor. That's absolutely what it is. I think we've all experienced hours and hours, and it's commitment, it's time, it's everything over the years, and that is what you're asking people to pay for. It's experience, it's knowing, it's all the little things, as we were saying, that go with putting on just one event. It's the organising, it's the liaising, it's the getting the music sorted. I mean, I spent an hour last week just putting things into poly pockets or whatever they're called. You know, I don't want to do that. It's so boring, but I will do it because here we are, and this is what we're doing. And every one of those little chores and every one of those hours of practice that's mounted up over the years is what we're about. And it is a talent to have and to nurture, but you've got to work at a talent, haven't you? You've got to work at what's valued. So yeah, you're right. People, it's a strange, it's not very tangible, is it? It's not, you can't pin it down. You can't really say, yes, oh, there we are. That's what I'm paying for. There it is. It's tricky. And it's always been that way. So it now more than ever feels like that needs to change, I think.
And I think maybe the difficulty for performers as well right now, as extension of what you were saying, is that we need to keep that experience going. So it's finding ways to keep the motivation for practice and keep some kind of performance practice going when there haven't been any live gigs, and it's been really difficult. So many people have ended up doing free live streams and stuff, as we were saying, in order to still be creative in that way and keep their own practice and experience going. Maybe difficult.
Yeah, and there is a value on that, isn't there? There is a value on doing it for yourself a little bit as well, and just needing to get out there. And I, there's been some incredible things going on the internet that we've all loved. I've done a lot of it myself, so perhaps I'm sounding a bit hypocritical. I've done loads for free in the last few months, but yeah, it's weighing it up, isn't it? It's weighing up balance, especially when you know that people can. Yeah, especially when you come across people that you know full well can afford to pay, and they try to take advantage of the situation, I'm afraid, sometimes.
I've definitely seen extremes in both directions. I think I've seen some incredible generosity from people in the last few months, and there've been memes going around social media saying, if you had a ticket booked for something, please don't ask for it back if you can afford not to, or if you can afford to pay for somebody else's ticket, please do, and sort of things like that. And people have been doing it, as well as the other end of the scale. But there have been some lovely examples of generosity, I think. So yeah, I have to hope that continues.
Absolutely. And yeah, totally. And actually, on that note, I'd love to just say that I have felt that, and I have already, in this little campaign I've been running, have already had some very generous donors actually, and that really means a lot, especially when it comes from quite small sources sometimes. So you're right, you have seen a lot of that as well.
So where are you at the moment? Obviously, Perform, this is crowdfunding donations going directly into producing events and money for performers to pay them for what they're doing. What else is kind of going on? What are your plans?
Well, I think on top of that as well is worth adding that we really want to feel that the value in the community. I suppose primarily I am talking about South London. That's where I live most of the time. I'm actually in Wales at the moment, having a little break. But I've been in South London for years. I'm very passionate about the area and the community. So I think it's a two-way thing. It's money for performances, but it's the hope that those performances will contribute positively to the local community. So I think that's where I'm up to, which I guess it's not a groundbreaking concept in any way. So many people are trying to do this. It's not. I'm not doing anything particularly unusual. It's just, I guess I've just sort of got my arse into gear a bit just to do it. That's what's happening. I think the community is such an important thing, such an important element of what we do. I'd like to think that we can really work with venues to create things together. I'm looking at a lot of local venues, some outdoors, some indoors. That's where I'm up to. We've got a really exciting thing. One very supportive place has been Beckenham Place Park. I must give them a mention because they've been so supportive, and they're one of the places that is so keen to have live musicians performing and have been so helpful. We're actually going there on Friday, not only to rehearse, but to play outside. So we will be there, popping up Friday afternoon and also next week as well. So all the details will be on my social media.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
So if people want to pop along to Beckenham Place Park on Friday afternoon and hear some live music from Classical Pop-Ups, they just need to check your website, which will be in the social media feed. Brilliant.
Absolutely. I think we'll be there. I think we'll be playing from about 3:30 this week, and then next week it's later. It's about 5:00 next Friday as well. So
fantastic. Just thinking about local community, actually, you said it's not groundbreaking. Lots of people are doing this, but I do wonder how much the pandemic situation has really brought home to everybody the importance of their local community, because especially in London, we have so many communities, don't we? And especially as freelance musicians, we have lots of little communities all over the place, and they don't always overlap. And I do wonder if this has really brought home to people the importance of the community on their doorstep. It certainly has for me, anyway.
Yeah, totally. And I've really loved exploring little local corners of South London that I haven't been to before. That's been a really positive point of lockdown. And everywhere I look now, I mean, I'm obsessed. Everywhere I go, I think, oh, this would be great for a pop-up. This would be great. Oh, so I've been in touch with a lot of local areas. I mean, bandstands. I really want to get musicians playing in bandstands, which is proving to be very difficult. There's a lot of rules and regulations going on with bandstands at the moment. So yeah, I won't get onto that. It's quite frustrating. But yeah, things like that. Parks, open air spaces, only probably for the next month or so until the weather turns, and then I'll be taking people indoors. So it's, yeah, a bit cozier. We'll be looking for cozy venues then. So if anyone's got, I was going to say, if anyone does have a space that they would like a pop-up at, that's the other thing, you know, do get in touch if someone's got a big space that they're hiring out or would give us for free. You know, we're anywhere. As I said, we fit in the back of a car, so we'll come anywhere.
And you are also based really close to Crystal Palace yourself, aren't you? So we are talking about the immediate local area for a start.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just the other side of Crystal Palace Park, the Sydenham side. So I guess I'm a Sydenham resident. But yeah, it's funny that little area. I sort of feel quite equidistant to all the localities. And yeah, I love Crystal Palace. I'm really so fond of the area. I've spent hours and hours walking around the park in the last few months. Hours. I'm sure
I've probably run past you at some point. So I guess my final question really is just, well, do you have anything else that you want to add at the moment? Because we're sort of coming to the end of our time, and just to kind of reiterate how people can get in touch and what you're looking for, I suppose, or what the options are.
Yeah, I guess I am just looking for support. That concept of local talent is very important. There are so many local talented professional musicians in Southeast London in particular. There are so many of us that are all really desperate to perform. And I've now created my campaign called Perform, and it would be really lovely if people wanted to contribute, no matter how small. I've been saying that when I've been approaching local businesses, I've been saying sort of, you know, giving a little helps a lot. And I realise that sounds like a cliche or like a bad supermarket advert or something, but it's sort of, that is what it's about. Giving a little helps a lot. It all goes into the pot and it all goes directly to the musicians. That's the key thing. And hopefully we can create some exciting events in the local community along the way.
And in the current climate, where actually a lot of musicians who are primarily performers have lost most of their income, if not all of it, actually seriously a little bit really does help a lot, doesn't it? Because it's as opposed to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the sort of a really key thing that I should have probably said at the start, is that so many musicians, well, all musicians have lost all of their work, most of their income, and we mustn't forget that so many people haven't been eligible, have actually been excluded from receiving support and government financial assistance. You know, that's a really key thing here with self-employed people, is that not everyone unfortunately fit into that category of being able to claim grants. You know, and that's it's a really make or break situation. It's really quite serious. I mean, we're trying to make the best of it, obviously, all of us, but it's really serious and we have to get that support.
And actually, maybe I'll just add on to that, because I've seen quite a bit of stuff about this on Twitter, that there is a social media campaign, I'm sure it's beyond that, but I've seen it on Twitter, which is Excluded UK, which is a really big voice for people who haven't been able to get grants, and for anybody who's in the Crystal Palace area, SE19 Lates and Kate McGee are a really, really big voice for this. So those are a couple of places to go and look if you are in that position. There is definitely a petition going around, which apparently I've signed twice now, and so there are people who are what's the word, making noise about this and really trying to get it changed. So hopefully this is not permanent.
Yeah, hopefully. I think there's so many levels. There's supporting the venues, financially, there's supporting the performers. There's just so many factions involved, but you're right, that excluded group is just awful, and because it is literally nothing. It's nothing. Your income's gone, everything's gone, and these are people with families to support. It's serious times.
Yeah, absolutely. And you may continue so for some time. So yeah, brilliant. So if people are interested in a pop-up, they could get in touch with you. Interesting, unusual venues, worth a shout. Any Crystal Palace Triangle businesses fancy a little bit of live music? Do get in touch with Sally.
Here we are. Here's my new business card. So there we go.
Excellent.
Exactly. I mean, anything that anyone wants to ask or get in touch if they're interested in knowing a bit more about what we do and why we're doing it and where we'll be. And fantastic. Well done to you guys, because this is a really good show, really good initiative. Thank as well. You. So, and hopefully I'll be able to come to the library soon and check out what's going on there. That would be great.
Awesome. Well, I would love you to come and do a concert there at some point. So we will definitely be in touch.
And good luck with the choir as well.
Yeah, Thank you. It's all change at the moment. I'm just trying to work out how we can safely do some in-person sessions. So that's the new thing for us. So fingers crossed. It's been lovely to chat to you, Sally. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so much for having me. It's been great.
It's an absolute pleasure. Come back in a bit and tell us how you're getting on.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So just before we finish, a couple of things to just say. One is, as always, we are still looking for people to contribute to our oral history project. So this is the Arts Council funded All Alone Together, which is looking at the impact of COVID-19 on the local community. There's a very, very short survey on our website, and there's a box to tick in that to say if you're willing to be interviewed. If you're up for being interviewed, I would love to have a chat with you. It takes about an hour, and those interviews are being turned into podcasts where we can hear our local community in their own words, in their own voices, telling about their experiences. And I've said this before, but I'm really interested in just everyday details even. You don't have to have a massive story, or it doesn't have to have been a particularly dramatic time necessarily. I'm just interested in everyday stuff as well. So please do come chat to me about that. The other thing is that if you're interested in being on the show, we're always looking for people to be guests here. So if you're doing something interesting, or you'd like to come and tell us about how things have changed in the last few months and kind of how you're operating now, or you've got something to promote that might be interesting to the local community, please give us a shout. I'm sure that Rin is putting the email address. She has already done it. That's brilliant. Rin is awesome and always ahead of me, even when I throw things at her that she's not expecting. Thank you, Rin. And the other thing I'm going to say is please do keep a check on our live stream program, because there's always a lot on it and it does keep changing. And for my own promotion for this is that Crib Notes Choir is restarting next week. We're going to be doing Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Technically, Crib Notes is a parent and baby choir, but at the moment we're live streaming, so it's open to absolutely everybody, and we'd love you to come and join us. And I think that is all from me. So Sally, thanks so much. Lovely to chat to you.
Thank you.
And take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.